Hello, everyone. How are you? I am Dr. D from 963B4U, and I wanted to tell you all the things that's going on in the world that we're going to be doing a series on rape. It is a very serious matter, and I want to encourage and help our victims get rid of the trauma and the shame they felt and start to offer more supportive issues. Some people would say rape only happens to a woman, but it's far from the truth. Rape happens to male children, female children, from babies, you wouldn't think, to adults, preteens, meaning 17, 18. And it also happens to some of our members in the community that have autism. That is going on rampant as well. So, it being happening in the male, it happens to men as well. They're of age. Some of it happens in fraternities or different organizations to be part of. Some of this happens in the religious order, some churches. Some of the women it affects are in religious orders. It's been known in the nunnery where women were placed in there to be of service of the fathers, the priests in there. And there have been known where nuns have gotten pregnant and had to get rid of abortion of some type or have them in an orphanage. There's so much behind this that we normalize all these deviant behavior as normal and not seeing them for what they are. When a person came to pillage the village, that meant not only did they pillage, but they raped the women, they raped the children, and they killed and murdered. But it was heroic. I can't even say it. It's a heroic kind of view. But in my mind, I can't function that because I can't see how that is celebrated, but it was. They would sit around the fire, they would go to the pub, they would go village, drink the alcohol, the mead, the beer, whatever it is at the time, and talk about what they did, how they did it. And some of them, if they like the person they raped or the being they humiliated and raped, they would become a servant unto this person. They would be their servant, they would be under them. So it was not just it was done and they killed them. Some of them raped them and continue to be serviced by them. Could you imagine that is a culture, that's a thing that we have not talked about, discussed, or even I like the energy. I mean, I don't know if you can feel it, like the energy around that is there is horrific. So I decided each time that what I'm going to do is talk about it. We're going to talk about military sexual trauma, not just only in the United States, but also that it happens in our barracks. It happens in our camps. It happens in our boot camp. It happens in the United States. It happens with some of our soldiers and military that go outside of the United States with this behavior and rape some of the villages and country women that are there in that and think it's okay. Then they leave these victims there with the shame they have to go through their village or town or whatever it is. They could have pregnancies. So then they have these children. And these children are there, and either they have to get rid of them, or either they're raising them by themselves and they're traumatized. And there's a stigma with them because this former foreigner taking you, and they consider them not good goods anymore. How deplorable. There's no punishment for that. Even if it was brought to the military's attention what was done in these foreign countries by these soldiers that was supposed to be saving our country, but they were abusing their power and raping the other foreign means. Now, I'm not saying it's just the United States. It's other military that are coming into other countries and doing the same thing. It's open season. They come to a foreign land. They see it's something exciting. They really don't have the respect for, I'm not saying all, some of them don't have the respect for the women back home as these women, and they think they're fair game, which is saying something of the climate of what we've been dealing with and showing that it's okay to go to a foreign land and disrupt and rape and take what you want. That is not cool or great. But what about these victims that are left behind? How do they pick up the pieces? How do they begin to move on with their life? Some of them actually kill themselves. It's a high suicidal rate when something like this happens, especially in Africa. That's been known. And some of the villages was actually kill them. But also other countries, Vietnam, when we're going through Japan, Ireland, what was the other country? Other countries have been, like going through this, and it's caused a lot of division in their own community among themselves. So the victim is suffering, but she's also being doubly punished again by her community, by her family, by friends. It's so many different reactions, and we want to talk about it. So some people, in order to get into an organization, they have to do some things, and some things they do are unspeakable. You're just seeing right now in Hollywood what's going on, that these men of power were raping women and taking women, but not a lot of light is being shown on them. It's being put to the side. It's being, oh, it's okay, ha ha, he he. It was at a time that it's so far long ago, they're not going to worry about it. But unfortunately, these things, these victims, they have done in other communities. They have gotten R. Kelly and put him behind jail. They put Bill Cosby behind jail. I mean, what is the real cause? But these other predators get to walk away free with no punishment. They were made to be an example. And there's a lot more, Epstein and all of this thing. I'm just naming some things that I want you to be aware of, the predators. I mean, and they were not even just targeting women in Hollywood. They were targeting men. They were at their beck and call. They had to do things in order to move up. We're not shining lights on it. It's very low key, very hush hush. You've seen about some of this coming child actors talking about some of the things of being left alone. These young girls that are left there, do you know what goes on? And some of them don't have memories. They give them drugs. They do different things to block out why they use them. And it's not good. And then some of them have flashback, or they think it's a dream, or they're having dream nightmares and think it is a dream, but it wasn't a dream, it was a reality. And they're cleaned up, made up, look nice, and made to be shunned. When you talk about it, you're just put out there. So I want to erase that feeling of shame and bring in what we can do. So I am going to bring in some counselors. I am going to bring in like the Rape Foundation. I'm going to talk up to some victims and see if they want to come on camera. If they don't, that's okay. But we're also going to talk about molestation. How many people have known where a young girl was thought to be fast in her family and she had a child, but you didn't know if she was sent down south or she was sent somewhere else in another state and come back and start anew. And when they come back, it's usually the mother that had the child, but it's really not the mother. It was the daughter that had the child because somebody in the family or a family friend had touched the person, raped the child, and then she was thought as she was not taken care of, not loved, just ashamed. And it's because they felt she was sinful or something that was not right, but something she did not cause. The victim again here is being punished for who she was, not who the predator was. The predator got to walk free. So when that person sees that, how much trauma is experienced by the victim over and over again every time they have to see it? What kind of help does she got? Because back then, a lot of them didn't. What stays in the family, what goes on the family stays in the family. What goes in the house stays in the house. So you didn't tell. So even if you knew that, you seen it, actually you did not tell because that was the thing, you don't tell. So what do these victims have a chance of recovering if they never get to experience or ever get to live a trauma-free of what their trauma they went through? How do they escape this? So we'll talk about that, how the family turns their back or it's okay or let's not talk about it, it's all in your imagination, where they make the victim again feel like they're out of sorts. They don't know what to talk about. They're losing their senses. So this is something that's dear to my heart because I've come up somewhere and I'm listening to spirit as this is going on. There's a reason. It's happening in political powers all the time. Y'all make fun of Clancy Thomas when the woman went on Anita Hill, talked about him putting a pubic hair on a Coca-Cola can. I remember that as a kid. I remember coming out of the military where the Navy in the 90s were just coming up and talking about the retaliation of the men that raped the women on the ship in the Navy. This has happened all the time in the Marines where they're torturing them. These are things that are being brought to the light. But look how many years, 32 years of this have gone on and beyond. So I'm not even talking about the women enlisted. What about the nurses that enlisted and went to do a service for the men? Do you know what some of the women experienced them as nurses and the humiliation and the things, but they serve their country? That's what I'm saying. It's so traumatic that we got to begin to heal. I just feel the need to do this. And I hope you will listen to these series with an open heart and understanding and enlightenment that if you know someone, please tell. If you experience, try to get some help. I hope this helps you go forth and begin to start your healing process, healing journey. Whether you're a man, woman, male child, female child, or an adult in any kind of circle, from political, I want you to get the service and the help that you need. So I am Dr. D. I am from 963B for you. And we will continue. If you have any questions, please leave them at the bottom of the screen and I'll be sure to answer them.